I am super excited to have you. And actually, with this, obviously, my curiosity starts with, can you like start and share a little bit more about who you are and what you do in the planet on the planet before we dive into all the details around your work? Because I'm really curious and excited about that too.
Well, I've been playing crystal singing bowls for almost 20 years. I'm considered one of the world's uh, most respected or very highly respected crystal bowl master of playing. I have many, many recordings out. The miraculous way that I landed on this path happened back in 1998 or 1999, when I got a phone call from a spiritual mentor that I was working with at the time. And she said, "Have you ever heard of crystal singing bowls?" I said, "No." She said, "These are absolutely up your alley. You need to know about them." She described them to me. I said, "Yes, send me one," because she happened to have access to a bowl. So she sent me this beautiful bowl. About 3 weeks later, it arrived on my kitchen table in a huge double box wrapped in a bazillion peanuts. I took the first box out. There were peanuts all over my kitchen floor. I took the second box out. There were packing peanuts all over the floor. I took this enormous 14-inch classic frosted crystal singing bowl. It was quite heavy. I took it out. I put it on the table. I took the mallet. I never even bothered to read the instructions. I chimed the side of the bowl, and I promptly burst into tears. They were soul tears. I can't even describe them to you in this moment. They were a remembering of sound. It was as if, I love the stories that they tell you about before you come into incarnation, into birth, that you make these little agreements and say, well, now when you hear that sound, you're going to know instantly that this is important. And that was one of those moments in this lifetime. The moment I heard that sound, it was as if my soul was sending me a huge message saying, this is it, and this is important. So I literally burst into tears. The first thought that I had in my mind was that light had come to live in my house. And that was extraordinary to me, because I had been going through a lot of challenges up until that time. And the fact that light was living in my home, it literally had embodied itself and come to live in my home. And the next thought that I had was, someday I'm going to put these into music. Now, I've been a professional musician up until that point. I'd been a professional musician for 30 years. I'd gone to conservatory. I'd studied classical music, voice, opera. I'd done children's music, Broadway, musical theater, just jazz, improvisation, everything that you can imagine. I had dabbled my hands in on very deep levels, but I had still felt that I hadn't found myself. I hadn't found my voice. And it wasn't until the bowls came in that I actually found my voice. And that was about 4 or 5 years later, when I was ready. I met my producer, Thomas Barkey. Some of your listeners may know him through his work with Sanatan Kaur. She's a very well-known kirtan singer and spiritual chant artist, sacred music chant artist. And Thomas has worked with her for many, many, many years. And the minute I heard the production of the sound, I knew that that was the person that I wanted to work with. And it was instantaneous. And the moment I met him, it was instantaneous, like that. It was just like the moment of chiming the bowl. So there were these beautiful synchronistic events that just led me walking on the path, one foot after the other, after the other. The first recording that Thomas Barkey and I did together, and we've done many since then, is called All Is Forgiven. And the very first song that we recorded together is called Ave Maria. And that song has gone to be heard and played millions of times all over the world. So it hasn't stopped since then, pretty much. So back in about 2005, 2003, 2005, I began playing the alchemy and the master alchemy bowls that are made by a company called Crystal Tones. And I now have 100. And if I were to turn the camera, you could see them all.
They're
Because
everywhere. Yeah.
we're sitting in my, well, they're in my office too, but we're sitting in my ballroom in my home, and I'm surrounded by crystal singing bowls. So I like to tell people they're like potato chips. You know, you can't just have one, and they must propagate in my room when I'm not looking. They all get together at nighttime and do fun things. I think there's another one.
Yeah. So I am like, there's multiple questions popping up because, like, just start with the first one because I want to dive into the real essence, but I also want to be practical. So when you, because that's what you're going to do in today's session, just to be clear for the audience, you're going to give it to us, right? So how do you choose the bowls? Is that because of the sound? Is it because of your intuition? How do you make the music? Or music isn't the right word, I think, but how do you pick that and how do you create?
That's a huge question.
Oh.
That, I mean, of all the questions you start with, how do you choose the bowls? Well, when I first began, many, many, many years ago, and this was before I really understood how to work with bowls, I chose by note. And I was approaching them. This was really fascinating. I was approaching the bowls simply as instruments. Well, I don't think that or feel that way anymore. And I haven't thought or felt that way for a long, long time. They are living consciousness. But 20 years ago, I didn't know any better. I had lived my life as a musician. And so I was approaching them as musical instruments. But I had no idea that, kind of underneath the lid, the hat of the bowl, the bowl is introducing to itself to me like, hi, Ashana, I'm a G, I'm an E, I'm an F. And I'm back behind the label, the bowl's going, tee hee hee, she doesn't even know what we really are. And that was exactly it. I had no clue what they really were. So I'd say, oh, I want a D rose quartz, or I want a D amethyst, because the bowls that I play are infused and overlaid with precious gemstones, minerals, and metals. So they're very, very beautiful. As you can kind of see some of them around me, they're very, very beautiful. They're not white. They're not only white, but they're opalescent and, gold and ruby colored and diamond colored and orange. I mean, it's every spectrum of color that you can imagine, and the spectrum of sound as well. But I didn't know any of that. Now, when I choose bowls for myself, I am feeling the sound. I'm feeling the quality of the sound. I'm feeling the overtones. I am feeling the alchemy itself. I'm feeling, because I've been playing so long, I'm feeling rose quartz, or I'm feeling emerald. I'm feeling the diamond. I'm putting the whole thing into its context, because not every bowl is the right bowl for every person, but every bowl has a home.
Yeah.
Okay, so if it was me, I would take them all. That would be amazingly greedy. I would be a bowl hoarder. But it's not possible to do that, and who would want to do that? Because the whole idea is to get the bowls into the hands of the people that are going to play them and share them, and light up that light of transformation that communities and groups and peoples and our land, the earth, our really everybody right now. The way that I feel it and see it, everyone right now on earth is the light workers. It is all hands on deck. We need every single person that can possibly lift a spirit and be an inspiration to stand up in their roles as leaders and visionaries and help move the collective consciousness forward. So into its next evolution.
And yeah, I believe that, and that are exactly the people listening, right? Because I called them forward, so that the people listening get this. And so, if we're talking about raising the collective, raising the energy, raising the frequency, how does that work with the bowls on an individual level, but maybe also on a group level? Just how does it work for the people receiving? I'm super curious, right? So, what I have 10 questions in one, right? So I'm just going to ask them all and you're just going to give that. And it's also like, and what are the results they will see when start listening to your music? So that's like 2 questions, right?
I go back to your introduction and your centering exercise. Because what you asked everybody to do was to center themselves and imagine that there was a great crystal transmitter in their heart and that this is beaming and broadcasting. It's broadcasting a frequency, an energetic vibration of love, of wholeness, of oneness. You didn't use all of those words, but I know that they were implied.
Yes.
Now, let's just go back and let's look for a moment at the properties of pure quartz crystal. So the properties of pure quartz crystal, gem silica, are to amplify energy, to transmit energy, and to contain or store energy. I'm going to say that again because it's really important. This is actually the foundational piece of why crystal singing bowls are so powerful. So the 3 properties of pure quartz crystal are to transmit, to amplify, and to store or contain energy. Now, once we understand that and we accept that as the natural state of what that particular form does, the form of crystal, okay? Let's look at how sound is best carried or transmitted. Sound is best carried and transmitted through water, not through air. Most people think of that the most powerful transmitter for sound is through air because we're so used to hearing sound through our ears, and we think that that's the only way of doing it. But actually, the most powerful transmitter of sound is water. That's why in the oceans you have dolphins and whales and certain species of fish that are able to communicate with each other up to 225 miles underneath the ocean in the waters. Now, air, you can only communicate and hear those sounds approximately 5 miles. So imagine this. Imagine that you play a sound of such high vibrational energy that it literally has the capacity of opening up and balancing and vibrating, clearing and balancing all the energy centers in the body. We know them as chakras. We know the 7 basic ones that from root to crown, but there are also numerous chakras that are higher and in the subtle realms, in the energetic bodies. The sound of the crystalline bowls is particularly attuned to balancing and opening those chakras on all of the energy bodies, not just the physical. And they are particularly helpful to open up the chakras in the higher centers. So from about the throat to the third eye, the pineal gland, the pituitary gland, the crown chakra, then into the 8th, the 9th, the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th. Those levels, I don't want to say levels, but those energetic bodies that become more and more and more and more and more subtle as the further we move into our light body and away from the grosser physical manifestation. So the bowls are actually deeply affecting all of the bodies, from the etheric bodies into the subtle bodies, and then ultimately into the physical body as well. When the bowls are played, because our bodies as humans are 70% water, the sound and the information of the bowls is carried like almost like homeopathic information, but it is carried through all the physical form, all of the cells in the body, the trillions of cells in the body. The information from the sound frequency literally begins to be distributed at the DNA level. It goes through, it affects the mitochondria of the cell, it affects the DNA of the cell. And we know, because scientists have been doing this research, that the DNA of the cell is deeply affected by intention and the sound of language. So that when we have a particular, if we sing or we do meditation or we do affirmation, positive affirmation, if we are holding those vibrations in our awareness, and then we blend this with the crystal singing bowls, because now we're already putting sound on steroids, because the crystal is amplifying, it's transmitting it, it's already containing and storing it. Now we're adding the piece of intention, we're adding the piece of language, perhaps it's sacred mantra, perhaps it's prayer, perhaps it's holding a sacred intention, and you're even verbalizing it internally, you're even hearing the vibration of those prayers internally. Now you are setting off a healing reaction in the body. And the body is accepting it, as I said, through all of the fluids. So we're vibrating energetically through sound. It's going all the way up into the subtle and more refined energy bodies. And it's working with our gross physical form through the fluids of our bodies. Very powerful. Sound healing is so powerful. And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
It sounds super exciting and also kind of logical. I mean, the way you explain it, it's like, okay. And I thought, even when you will say it out loud, you obviously are vibrating as well, right? So it's even more powerful, because now it's like, I was thinking like it's even more powerful. And it sounds so simple. I don't think the playing is simple, but how you explain it sounds so simple. So for people listening and desiring healing, what can you heal or what can you not heal, probably is the question. Probably you can heal anything. Or where do you see the results mainly being created for people? Is it ease? Is it like opening up to their natural talents? So what is happening when they listen to you or to the music, to the bowls? What happens?
Well, some very simple, basic things happen when they're listening. I love to do this experiment when I'm in a group of people and I'm live and we're doing like an experiential class form, and they'll come in from wherever they've been, and you know how people are chatting, oh, da, 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 da. And I will take one crystal bowl, something like this, you know, and I'll chime the side, and I'll chime it again. And then I begin to play. And they're still talking. They're like, da 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 da. And in just a few moments, the mind begins to settle. This initial experience of a crystal singing bowl is the experience of the mind beginning to quiet. And that quietness can be felt within the first 3 minutes. Do you see how powerful that is? Now think about how many people can't meditate. They have no access point to meditation. They don't even, you know, if you tell them just focus on your breath, it's even hard for some people. They're so agitated. It's even hard for some people to just take a moment and take a breath. You know, how much of the world would be shifted right now if we all just stopped, and I mean all of us, just stopped and focused on our breathing and began to calm the nervous system down. Some of us, I was one of them. That's how I can say this. I couldn't even focus on my breath. When I first met the bowls, my mind was so like, in a constant state of agitation. And it wasn't until I heard that first sound of the bowl that I went, and I have seen this response and this reaction to crystal bowls over and over and over again. And my students have shared this with me. My clients that I work with shared this with me, that what happened when I first heard that sound, when I heard the bowls, my mind went quiet. Now, as you know, because of the work that you're doing, how powerful step that is for the first to access our body's own intelligence so it can heal itself. Now, I cannot tell you that by playing a crystal bowl or listening to a crystal bowl or music, excuse me, that you are going to have a major miraculous healing. I don't know. I certainly can't attribute that for anybody else. But I can say that I have many, many anecdotal stories of people who have powerful experience. I have had people in my concerts. I've had people get up from wheelchairs. I have had people pass blockages in the intestines. I've had people experience people healing tumors. I have had people see problems or issues that have been so problematic for them and come out of the experience with new levels of clarity, awareness, and understanding. When I work with people, I'm not there to heal you. I'm simply there to hold a space in sacred sound, in a vibration at the highest possible level that I can do in that given moment. My job is to open up a space with a connection to the divine, and the divine that I understand in me, as me, the divine as expresses through me. We all have that. This isn't just something that's limited to Ashana. It's all of us. And I think this is in no small part what happens when people are listening to sacred sound, sacred mantra, crystal bowls that are played with a very high level of intention. That what happens for people is it opens up a portal and a pathway for their own direct experience of their own inner wisdom, of their own divinity, of their own light, of their own experience of God, goddess, whatever it is you want to call it. And it returns us to an inkling of the experience of wholeness with all that is. That, in no small part, is, I believe, the number one thing that sacred sound and sacred healing sound does. And that is why it is so powerful and it's so healing. But there are also, especially now more than ever before, all kinds of science now is stepping in to basically affirm what a lot of us in the sound healing and musicians who have been doing sacred music for eons have known, that when you start singing, when you start chanting, when you start vibrating, when you start drumming, when you start playing, your entire body changes. I was watching just the other day, I was watching Ken Burns, the filmmaker, did a beautiful series on country music. And they were talking about the banjo, which is an instrument that came over from Africa and it was adapted by in the American South. And they said, just listen to the sound of this instrument. You can't help but listen to the sound and feel happy. And they
Yes,
started playing, and you're just like, your whole body went, well,
it
when you're
does.
like that, you're vibrating at a higher level.
Yeah.
When the sound is going through you and you're singing and you're chanting and you're joyful, and I don't care what music it is that you love, it doesn't matter. When you access that, when you're laughing, when your whole immune system is impacted, it's huge. So does that answer your question? For a
It
little
does. And
on and on and on. So I have to stop myself.
no, but it does. And it's also like that simple thing you just did there. I could feel like my whole system going zzz. I was like, okay, I need to like keep asking, like I need to stay away. But my intent, like what happened was I was like that, right? I could feel just very peaceful, very obviously I respond kind of intense also to this kind of things. I do because I'm very sensitive, but I could feel it instantly in my body. And because you could hear the sound, even when I thought it stopped, I could still feel it. And even when you stopped, I could still feel the vibration almost like impacting it. So that was like one example. So I'm like, okay, so what will happen if you open us up to like all these different sounds? You can like it's really delightful, and I'm excited because I was like, I didn't know this. Do you know, I'm kind of all over in the spiritual, but this is very exciting new. I'm like, I want to listen to this. I want my children to experience this as well, because it's not only for me. It's like I could put this on, your music on, and just vibrate my whole home with it. How like it's exciting. So I'm excited.
I have people that for years, they will have taken one of my albums and played them, every single day for a year or two or three, just to shift and hold the vibration of the home. And I have had many women who have used my music for birthing, families who've used my music for helping patients in hospice move through transition to deathing, and everything in between. I met my graphic designer, the amazing Raj Naik. It's incredible, and I met Raj because before I had ever done anything in public, and Thomas and I had finished recording All Is Forgiven, and I contacted him, and I said, here's a sample of some of the sounds, and he had a spontaneous healing of some chronic pain just by listening to the music over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And I have had, and he was like the first story of that happening, but I have had hundreds of people telling me that this is what happens. You go into that quiet space, you link up to your connection with your own divine intelligence, and you allow the parasympathetic nervous system to ratchet down. So you move into a quieter space, and then as all of the distraction begins to fall away, the connection, your body actually goes into a deep state of relaxation, and it begins to release stress.
Yeah.
As the stress begins to release, the mind begins to quiet down. As the mind begins to quiet down, the possibility for miracles begins to step forward, or you just get rest and rejuvenation. And how beautiful is that?
I think it's an exceptional almost tool you can use in order to stay in alignment with who you are. And I'm a channel, so if I listen, they will say, we help you to remember who you are. That's always what they will say. And you said exactly the same, right? This just helps people. And you don't have to be a channel. You can just listen to that and remember it, because you will, I could feel it instantly. So it's like you listen and open up. You just listen and open up, and you can remember that instantly. And I believe that's what I believe. the more you are in that state of expansion, of openness, obviously life starts to flow, and the abundance and the prosperity and the joy and whatever you desire stuff, because then you're open. And what I feel, I maybe I'm wrong, but I think what it happens is the resistance goes away. Whether it is busyness, it's like there's no resistance. So you're just who you really are. It's like, I'm very excited about it. I'm also excited to experience it.
Well, let's do that.
Yeah.
We're in the spot. I have a few of my friends here with me today, and I wanted to create an offering that we could, as a community, come together and send out a prayer for peace. I think now more than ever, we can always use peace. All of us can use peace, but our world, our earth right now needs calmness and a soothing energy, a wave of calmness, a wave of peace, so that we can begin to find ourselves again and treat each other and treat the earth with loving kindness. So I'm going to invite, if you are listening and you want to have the best experience that you can of this, please put on your headphones. And so you can just put the recording on pause, and then just go and grab your headphones. Really do that for yourself right now. And just don't listen through your laptop speakers, because unfortunately they are not designed to give you the full benefit of the sound of the bowls. So we're going to at least give you a better benefit than if you were listening through laptop speakers. If you want a really amazing experience of it, then I would say recordings are definitely the way to go, and live experiences in sound baths are also very, very helpful and beautiful. So I'd just like to have everyone just close your eyes for a moment. And we'll take that beautiful inhalation breath that Sigrid did in the beginning, and inhale and just hold it for a moment. And exhale and let everything go. Out your mouth, out your lips. And inhaling, taking a deep breath. Hold that breath and then exhale through the lips and just let everything go. And place your awareness into the very center of your heart. And imagine again that beautiful crystalline light beaming out the center of your heart. And with each breath that you take, feel that light grow just a little brighter. Inhaling pure light. Feeling that light expand. And exhaling. Feeling that light begin to move in and through your entire body. Inhaling light and exhaling that light through your entire body into the trillions of cells that make up your beloved, precious body. Inhale the word peace and exhale the word peace. Inhaling peace and exhaling peace. And when you're ready, feeling your body filled with peace, send that light into every part of your home. All your family members, all your loved ones. The animals and the plants who live on your windowsill. And feel that peace from your heart infusing with light every nook and cranny in your home. And now allow that light on your breath, the inhalation and the exhalation of that light. Allow that light now to grow brighter and brighter, and feel it expanding to fill your neighborhood, transforming, illuminating, rejuvenating, and restoring every home and household, every business, the children, the pets, the grandmothers, grandfathers, the aunties and the uncles, taking that breath of peace. Feel that light now expanding expanding even beyond the borders of your neighborhood and feeling your village, your city, your town. And feel that light gaining momentum. And it reaches and touches the light of all the other beings and sends a wave of energy through your country, a wave of light. And feel that light accelerating, increasing in intensity, and beginning to fill the entire earth with light. Inhaling peace, exhaling peace. Inhaling peace, exhaling peace. Bringing your energy and your awareness back to the center of your heart. Take one more breath, filling your heart with light, filling your heart with peace, and allowing that energy to nurture and nourish, restore, rejuvenate, fill every part of you down to your DNA. I am peace. I am peace. I am peace. Shanti. Shanti. And inhale and take a breath. And hold that breath. And exhale. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
I can only imagine being live with you in the room, but it is interesting because like a lot of images, I got a lot of images because it is as if the vibration literally comes, for me this was, right? It was as if there were literally like waves of vibrations, all with their own unique color, so to speak, coming in. Like I could just, some were more like this, I would say baritone, right? So this like more dark, like not dark in the sense of dark, but like very, I don't know, firm kind of, at the end was very firm, and others were very like light, and just the experience of everything turning into this one kind of, it was exquisite. And also the sending out of the piece, I could, like you said, for the family back, but I actually, my heart and my intention went out to like what's happening in the world right now. I could feel it going into America. I could feel it sending into Iran, Iraq, like all these people everywhere. I could just feel it like in abundance, like giving all the people, like even the president came into mind, like giving peace to all these people of mine to make good decisions in life. So it was I don't know, it opened up new things on a new level. It was really an experience. I mean, I want to share all the words, but you can't, right? You can't catch it with the words. So I'm trying to explain. So I'm really curious, and I would really love for the people to let us know what they experienced as well. And so now back to you. So what did you experience? And also you have a great gift.
Well,
So
there's a couple of things that we have for those of you here today. We have the opportunity for the first 100 people who reach out to us. We are going to send you a full copy of Jewels of Silence as an MP3 download. It's the entire album. That is about an hour's worth of some of the most exquisite music you have ever heard. And this is our way of saying thank you for being part of this, and to have a fuller experience of this. And then for everyone else, past those first 100 people, we want you to have an experience too. So we're giving you a free gift of an MP3 download of one of the songs of Jewels of Silence, which is called Soul Merge. And it will open up energies to those upper etheric chakras very, very quickly for you. This is in preparation for some of the things that are coming out this year. We have our Jewels of Silence 2, which we're getting ready to release. We have some beautiful music, a meditation album that's coming out very soon, which is called Celestial Sleep, which is for those of you who are having difficulty sleeping. We have an amazing course coming out, which is a complete sound healing immersion that you're going to be able to do. So we want you to know about what's happening in our world. And for those of you who are interested in the crystal singing bowls and would like to bring this in for yourself, please do reach out to me. Just send me an email at soundofashana.com, and we would love to help you bring the bowls into your life too. So do that for people all over the world. There's no limit.
Yeah, I love this. And just to be very clear, it is a free gift because people are also offering like paid offers. This is free. I mean, like this is free. So you can just like receive this. And for the quick ones the quick ones will receive a whole album. I mean, this is a really great gift. It really, I mean, if this was a divine experience, what will happen to listen to one or maybe the whole album? So I am really inviting you all to come and join and receive that gift, really, because I believe this is such a divine way of connecting with who you are. So I'm actually wanting to have it, to be honest. I'm super excited about it. I'm going to get and go like find your albums as well to check out which one is like great to listen to in the home with the children. I would love to do that. So thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for sharing.
You're so welcome.
Thank you everyone for watching, for tuning in. And make sure, like, if you have any questions or comments, or you want to share, or you want to reach out, like, do so, because we both appreciate that a lot. So feel free to reach out and to let us know what you experienced. And I will talk to you all tomorrow.